Alrighty guys, so in that previous clip, you saw a clip of a 1959 Chevrolet Apache. Absolutely beautiful truck. So there's a little bit of a backstory behind that thing. That was taking place in Ray, Colorado, so near the border of Kansas and Nebraska, which is where I served. I served in Yuma County, Colorado, which includes Ray. Anyways, we were tracting one day, and if you know what tracting is, basically it's when you go door to door, and this is on my mission, where you offer the gospel to them, offer to have appointments and see what our church is really about. And anyways, it was kind of getting bland at a point, because we'd knocked like 2 or 3 or 4 streets, no answers, doors in the face, etc., etc. And we were starting to walk past this house, and I noticed this beautiful, beautiful blue and white Chevy pickup truck, probably from the 50s. Very beautiful. And I was like, that's awesome. So it was my companion's turn to knock, because we switch off every other door. So he knocks, and the guy answers the door. He's like, I'm not interested. I appreciate what you guys do, but I'm not really interested. He goes to slam the door. I was like, hey, that's a nice pickup truck you have out there. He stops mid-slam, and he goes, meet me out back. So at the time he was shirtless, but anyways, he runs out into the backyard with his keys, and he's running at this point. He comes out the door, and then you see him put his shirt on. He gets in the truck, starts it up, and pulls it back out. And then we talked to him for about 20 minutes about the truck and about the history of the truck. He had it in high school, and then I think his brother was driving and got into a wreck, so it left a nasty dent in the fender. Would have totaled a car from today. Yeah, he sold it at that point. Then 30 years later, he bought it back and decided to go out and get it restored. And so he took it to the shop, and it took him 3 years to restore it, because there you're in Tornado Alley. So what comes with this horrible hailstorm. So anyways, whenever there was a hailstorm, there'd be a bunch of cars, and then his truck would go very, very low on the priority list, and they'd have to get all these other modern cars fixed. But yeah, that really changed my perspective on my mission about tracting and about all that stuff. I really started to use my talents after that and my knowledge about cars to talk to people about them. Later on, we ran into I was in Casper, Wyoming. I was on exchanges there. I never served there. But I was with my district leader at the time, and I saw this beautiful 1955 Buick Super. That was my grandfather's first car, except he had the Buick Century. I was like, we have to go knock on this guy's door. It's very cool. So instead of bringing up the gospel at first, we brought up the car and talked to him about the car, and then, of course, that just led to the natural thing. So where are you from? What you guys doing here? That type of thing. And then we were able to go in and talk about the gospel. And then later on, I was a district leader, and I went on exchange with the zone leader, Elder Luktamau. And we stopped by this we were going down through this trailer park, and we saw this homemade garage, and we saw some type of land yacht on it. I don't remember what type of car it was, but it was definitely a car from the 70s. My brain's a little foggy on what it was, but I was able to identify what it was at first. So we went up and talked to the guy, and we actually got an appointment from it, and then the elders started meeting with him every once in a while. So yeah, that's what I really loved, because on my mission, I was really able to use my talents in the state of Wyoming and the state of Colorado in the countryside, where cars are really, really big. Because you're not going to find as many classics here in the city or any city. They're always hanging out in the countryside, though, because the cost of living is cheaper, after all. So anyways, guys, we got most of the crew here. Tony decided to be a chump You guys can say whatever you want about him.
Idiot.
Chumperoonie. He says chump as a
Decided to be a chump
pepperoni
and
slice.
run off. Ethan has a little bit more of a legit reason. Although he has a legit reason. He has church at 1:30, so he had to opt out. But yeah, you guys will see him soon in future episodes. So yeah, who will be interviewing me today is Mitch and Gabe. And then in the previous episode, of course, we interviewed Gabe. So yeah. Anyways.
So give us your name, your backstory, and how you became the person that you are today.
Okay, make sure you go through the list too. So we can save that in for trivia too.
Okay.
Because I have trivia questions. So let's see. What's the first question?
What kind of cars have you had in the past, Taylor?
Okay, so the type of cars I've had in the past, besides the car I own today, I've only had one other car.
That thing was awesome.
Atrocious.
Yeah. So I had a 1985 Buick Century, which my grandfather, Grandpa Denny, he actually owned it before me. And even my uncle has complained about the car, saying that it was a lemon from the factory. But the reason my grandfather bought it was because he bought the previous Buick Century, a 1955 Buick Century, and that thing lasted him for years. And he made the biggest mistake of selling it for no good reason, just so he could buy his 05 GTO.
So tell us a story about your belt buckle. Can you show it to us?
Oh, yeah. Has Hinckley Scout Ranch on it. So in season 1, I actually did a few episodes of working at Hinckley Scout Ranch. But yeah, I got this in the 2017 year, and I also got my famous jacket right here, actually. So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of my trademark look, the jacket and the belt buckle.
Yeah, that's one of the places you worked before your mission, right?
Yeah, it's one of the places I worked.
Tell us a story about Hinckley.
Where do I start? Okay, I got a story. So, yeah, in the 2018 season, so this is after Highland Ricer season 1 ended. We didn't record anything from like 2018 to 2020. But we were driving northbound on Utah 150, heading back to Hinckley after making a food delivery to Camp Steiner. And
remember that one?
The driver wasn't paying attention to the road. So,
hey, yo.
So anyways, he starts...
So
I look out from my passenger... I'm on the passenger side. I look out the windshield. I was like, that delineator is getting kind of close. Yeah, no big deal. I look again. It's getting closer, and I start hearing gravel going underneath tires. And so I was like, oh, shoot. So the driver hit the gas, cranks the wheel as hard as he could. So he went flying. All of our coolers, we had like 4 coolers in the back. We were in a cargo express van, Chevy Express. Anyways, it went flying up into the window and started bouncing all around the cargo area in the back. Because he was circling back and forth trying to stabilize the van because those things are so top heavy.
Jeez. Where did you work before the mission? Was that Hinckley?
Yeah, I worked at Hinckley Scout Ranch. My second job was Brick Oven. That place sucked. I hated it with every fiber of my
Forgot that you worked there.
You worked there, dog.
The food's great. The management wasn't. In fact, about the same time I quit, the manager actually got fired for... Yeah, she got fired
slave
for being
labor.
a bad... Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
And then
the
last place I worked before going on my mission is I worked at the Jordan School District as a student sweeper. I did that job for about a year and a half.
Wow.
So Hinckley, that's my longest held job. I held that job for 4 years, and then Brick Oven, I worked there from September to April. So
Jeez.
yeah. Because after April, the manager was being a whatever, so she didn't schedule me to work for an entire month.
So what mission did you serve in after your slave labor job?
So I went on to serve in the Colorado Fort Collins mission, left on October 10th, 2018, returned October 15th, 2020. The Colorado Fort Collins mission takes up the northeast corner of Wyoming, and then it also takes up probably about 2/3 of Wyoming, and then it takes up the Panhandle of Nebraska.
Wow.
Wow, Nebraska.
So when you were serving there, you were in the MTC for Halloween? What'd you guys do?
I wasn't there for Halloween.
You weren't?
Yeah, I barely missed it. So
Oh,
yeah, I
geez.
missed it by a day.
No
way.
Yeah, by a day. Because I left on the 30th. I left the MTC on the 30th. Arrived in the field on the 30th, and then the 31st was Halloween.
Jeez.
So yeah.
That
Jeez.
sucks.
So remember, just ended up buying us Papa Murphy's pizza, and we had to stay in our apartments after 6 p.m.
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, so I have two stories I'd like to share. So the first one, we were at our church I was serving in Yuma, Colorado. We were at the church there, and we get a call from this lady. So she lives in the southern part of our area. How zoomed in are you on my face?
Keep going, just keep
Come on,
going.
take it serious.
I'm taking it serious.
So she lived in the southern part of our area, and she's like, if you needed, she was speaking a million miles a minute. I couldn't understand. She's like, you need to get down here right now, yada, yada, yada. This man needs a blessing. Man, we're kind of low on miles. It's the end of the month. Is it possible we can come on Monday? No, he'll be dead by Monday. So we were so low on miles, so we had walked to the church. So we walked 30 minutes from the church back to our apartment, get in our car, and drive another 30 minutes down to the southern end of our area. And this part of our area is so dead. So anyways, the lady who called us, she lived in Joe's, and she was actually helping out some members who lived in Kirk. The population of Kirk, Colorado is 69. Literally only roads that go. There's no highways. It's so remote that no highways go through. It's just that just 2 county roads go through it, and that's it. One of them has asphalt, the other one is dirt.
We love that.
And I didn't know this till later, but this member, they lived right on the mission boundary, so they were on this side of the mission boundary. We didn't know it though. And then
Wait. Show the mission boundary again.
So here's the mission boundaries.
Okay.
This is our mission, and this was the other side of the mission. So we just pulled into their driveway. Their driveway was out of the mission house.
Holy cow.
So I didn't know this till later. But anyways, we go in, and this man the lady and Joe's call us because there was a couple in Kirk. They were old, but one of them had cancer, and he had like a oxygen cord that could reach. It was probably like 30, 50 feet long. It could go from one end of the house to the other, so he could just get around easy. Mm-hmm. And what happened was this lady had called the other lady in Joe's, Colorado, and she's like, I think my husband's dead. He's not waking up. And she's like, well, what do we do? How can we tell if he's alive? She's like, wait a minute. I know. Go to your kitchen, get a spoon out of the drawer, put it under his nose, and if it fogs up, he's alive. If it doesn't, he's dead. So
It's pretty smart.
yeah. So anyways, sure enough, it fogs up. So she calls us. We rush down there, and we give this man a blessing. But he's like, for the most part, he's fine. And we went back a year later because I served in that area twice, and he was still alive and well. But he was up cracking jokes on the phone with his buddies. Two ladies started talking about politics, and they started talking about Trump, and this lady claims, oh yeah, Trump personally hired me to do his genealogy work before he became president. And then some other things that happened is they started talking about space, how pretty it is, and then she's that same lady. She's the wife of the apparently dying husband. She's like, oh, I've been to outer space. It's so pretty out there.
Right.
And then there's just story after story after story. She's like, oh, there's this one time I did a swimming race with some Navy SEALs, and I beat them all. And then we just kept hearing story after story and after story, and we're just thinking to ourselves, this lady is delusional. She's crazy. So yeah, we went back a year later, and it seems like they seem to be a very prideful couple, because every time they say, oh, that's such a great person, it's because they take after me. So yeah, that was one funny story. Another story comes from Yuma, Colorado, and it was around the time my time ended there, when I was being transferred from Yuma, Colorado to Douglas, Wyoming. We get a text message from the APs. They're like, oh, by the way, you guys need to be to the transfer van by 8 a.m. I was
Holy
like,
cow.
you guys tell us now. Seriously, you guys wait to tell us now. We're a 2.5-hour drive from Yuma, and we're told to stay in our apartments no matter what. And then you tell us to be there at that time, and we're not allowed to leave until this point. So the next day, I'm driving like it's Nicolas Cage and Gone in 60 Seconds just to get there. But yeah, it was a pain in the butt, but we made it there with like 10 minutes to spare.
Holy cow.
Yeah. We left. I got up at like 5:30. I literally got up at 5:30 and then packed up, and then we packed up the cart, and then we just sat on the hood of the car waiting for the clock to turn 6 o'clock so we could actually get logged into Tiwi without being flagged.
You know, it's just a scratch. Eleanor, it can be fixed. No, don't do this. Don't start with me. Start. Come on. I need you, Eleanor. I need you.
Please take away from your mission.
Every day is a new opportunity to better yourself, and that's what I'm starting to realize more and more now, especially with the financial hardships I've been having lately.
Yes.
But yeah, every day is a new day to to better yourself. You need to thank the Lord every day for being given another day. Continue to make yourself better, because life is kind of like a volcano hotspot. I actually have a slideshow for this, so I'll insert it.
You have a slideshow for this?
Yes, I came up with this analogy. So, do you guys remember what a volcano hotspot is in science when you guys went through earth science and stuff?
Like the Ring of Fire kind of thing?
Yes, it's what made Hawaii. And then you know how there's like the big island and the smaller islands?
Shifting
Yeah, like
place?
basically.
Not quite. So how islands work is, of course, magma gets pushed up through these hot spots, and they either grow or they diminish. There's nothing in between, because as soon as they're done growing or they stop growing, that's because the hot spot has moved on to something else, to making a new thing. So you've got to do your best to keep yourself in alignment with that hot spot. In other words, the straight and narrow, or else there will be erosion, and it'll just erode the island away. There's no staying the same level in the gospel. You're either rising or you're diminishing.
Interesting.
So that's the spiritual takeaway from my mission. What I took away from it.
I like that.
And then financially, I wanted stuff like that, but I've kind of learned how to be self-sufficient, stuff like that. Like when I was serving in Pavilion, Wyoming, I helped a member build a house. Or at least part of it, and then he taught us how to do the framework and stuff like that. I also learned a lot about taking care of animals, because we did service at this lady's ranch in Platner, Colorado. Yeah, there's just so many things I learned. It's like John Deere from Nashville Tribute Band. He actually visited our mission. He visited our mission because one of the missionaries actually was in his ward, so he paid a special visit to us. But he said, when I was on my mission, he served in the Nevada Reno mission. Nashville Tribute Band. Do you guys know that band?
Oh, yeah. Nashville Tribute Band, yeah.
Yeah, Jason. I think it's Jason Deere or something like that. But yeah, he served in the Nevada Reno mission. He says, he's like, not only is a mission spiritual, but a mission is a crash course for life. You learn about what you want in a partner, what you don't want in a partner. You learn what countertops you want. You learn what coverage you want. You learn the type of dogs you want. And you learn the type of dogs you don't want. He's like, why I know that is because I have this huge scar going all down my arm. We went up to this member's house, and then this dog got a little too excited and decided to bite me.
No way.
So, yeah.
Hey, yo.
That's scary. Dogs on the mission are scary for some reason.
Yeah, they can be. They either love you to death, or they want to tear you to pieces.
Smack them with Book of Mormons.
Oh my god.
Put the fear of God in them.
There's him.
Was letting go.
Yeah, and then so that's I'd say that's the takeaway for my mission.
19 years of dreams left in my room as I buttoned up the jacket of my suit, and the hardest word I've ever loved to say was goodbye to my mom and walk away. Choking on my tie and on my tears as I walk down the hall into those years, and the sweetest song I ever loved to sing filled the empty sea on angels' wings, and the chorus filled filled my soul 5,000 strong. And I wished it would just go on and on.